the studio with us, we have a special guest to talk about an important event that only comes up once every couple of years here in Darwin to help celebrate everything that has to do with the Air Force and our partners that are international. It's, of course, Exercise Pitch Black, and it's none other than Air Commodore Micah Gray, who is the head of air shows for the Royal Australian Air Force. Thank you very much for coming.
Thanks very much for the opportunity to have a chat.
So it's very exciting. If you're a fan of military vehicles and planes, this is the place to be. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks very much. Yeah, so the Air Force operates out of Darwin and Tyndall in the Northern Territory on lots of exercises through the year, lots of training. It's a magnificent part of the world to do that training. And then every 2 years, as you said, we do Exercise Pitch Black. So that exercise is the Air Force's largest exercise, and it's a true multinational exercise. This year we have 21 nations coming with aircraft.
Is that more than before?
Yeah, so one or two more countries.
Yeah,
there's 4 first-time countries with aircraft. This year we have the Philippines, Spain.
Oh, Spain! Wow.
And Italy, and PNG are coming with their PAC 750 aircraft.
Oh, so, wow, that's very exciting.
Yeah.
They all have their own unique planes and vehicles that they bring over?
Yeah, so there's about 140 aircraft in the exercise. Most of them will be based out of Darwin, some at Tyndall, and then others, the tanker aircraft will be out of Amberley down in Brisbane, and they'll transit up, refill the aircraft and go back to
very cool.
Back to Amberley at the end of the day, yeah. But so second half of July, 3-week exercise. But as part of that, the most exciting thing for me is what I organise is the Mindil Beach flying display on Markets Night, and then the Saturday open day at the Air Force Base.
Excellent. So let's talk a bit about the Mindil Beach flyover that's happening fairly soon on the 18th of July.
Yes.
And tell me a bit about it. What goes around the planning? And I know that people are absolutely gobsmacked when they see the planes fly over. I think we had some... Was it F-34s?
F-35.
F-35,
yeah.
Sorry. We had that last time.
Yes.
Is we going to expect more of the same or a bit more extra stuff?
So all the aircraft that are participating from around the world, or all the countries, will be flying in that flying display. So it's the Thursday night Mindil Beach Markets on 18th of July. An hour and a half of flying, so effectively it's a mini air show in its own right.
Hour and a half, wow, okay.
And the history of that was, in the days of older Pitch Black, we would fly an F-111 or maybe a Hornet, across the beach and wave to the thing to show the flag. And then over the years it's got bigger and bigger, and we now we offer all the aircraft to participate, all the countries, and they do. So hour and a half of flying, fighter aircraft, the Osprey as you mentioned, tanker aircraft with the fighters behind them, simulating air-to-air refueling.
It's very exciting, yeah.
Wedgetail, the surveillance planes, all that. So really interesting lineup of aircraft. Last time we had about 30,000 people on the beach around the cliffs. So it's the normal Markets night. So great opportunity. We love supporting it. So after the flying finishes about 6:30, just on sunset, of course people can then go and have dinner and do all the things that they do at the Markets.
Perfect, yeah.
Yeah.
Is there a safe flying distance for certain planes? I know the Osprey gets pretty close. It goes very close to the beach, near the water, to spray up all the foam and flotsam.
Yeah, look, that's a key part of what our airshow team does. We design where the operating area is for the aircraft. We have a distance off the water, away from the crowds, and we have an exclusion box or a rectangle marked by Marine Boys, and the water police will be out there enforcing that. Not that there's many boats there. It's not that big, so any of the aerobatic and full-on handling display manoeuvres operate in that exclusion zone, and then they'll recover back into land back here at Darwin.
Very exciting. So what goes behind the scenes for the planning for something like the Mindil Beach flyover?
Yeah, so we look at, first question you asked is who wants to participate, as I said, for all our international partners, and they all said yes. We've then got to fit all those aircraft into give them a 1 or 2 minute window. For some of the full-on displays, I'll get 6 or 7 minutes. And we negotiate with the airport, with the airlines, through air traffic, because we need that's so close to the runway that there's basically no airline arrivals and departures in that. But that's part of the controls for the exercise itself. Over the 3 weeks, all the airlines and all the local operators are aware that there's lots of aircraft taking off and landing from there, and there is an impact. But hopefully we work well with them.
I think the main thing that Exercise Pitch Black brings, apart from the planes, it's the tourism.
Yes.
It's one of the most unique things that I know that Queensland has something very similar in terms of this type of sky show and the exercise that go around it. But the NT it feels like it's just in our backyard in comparison.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean it's this Mineral Beach and the Open Day, which we'll talk about, is really the give back from the Air Force back to the community, because we have an impact, a lot of positive impacts for business and tourism, as you said. But they're noisy, and there's lots of there's 2 weeks of night flying, and so a lot, in the days of old, people would say, why do they have to do this? And then when we show them what we do and they see it up close, and then on the Open Day out at the Air Force Base, they get to talk to the people. So and we get to talk to the locals and the visitors.
So yes, can you just give a bit of a rundown? What exactly is Exercise Pitch Black, though? Because the Open Day and the flyover, that's all wonderful, but it is a serious military thing for training.
Yes, yeah. So in any operations around the world, Australia is very unlikely to be doing it ourselves. So we're always with partners, the US and lots of other countries, and all the countries realise that. So being able to operate together and understand different procedures, and everything from the briefings, planning the missions, and then when you're flying, to coordinate whatever that mission is, really important. So when you bring these exercises that happen all around the world, not to the scale of this necessarily, it's just key part of international training. Australia puts a lot of effort into Pitch Black. It started off with effectively us and the New Zealanders and the US, and then Singapore was one of the early partners back in 1983. And it's gone on either every year or every 2 years since then. I think we're up to our 24th version of the exercise. And as I said, 21 aircraft countries flying.
So here's a question that I've been curious about. Do they ship the planes over in boats, or do they fly them over?
No,
and then just
you fly them across. So landing at airports and military bases around the world. So that's a big logistic thing in itself. But there is one aircraft that's coming on a ship, because that's the Italian are bringing their aircraft carrier.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah, that's part of the exercise. So not only are they coming for the first time with their Air Force, they're coming with their Navy carrier, with Sea Harrier aircraft. And
Harriers, awesome.
And their F-35 vertical takeoff aircraft.
Cool.
Yeah. So, and I am hearing, it's not my to organise, but I'm hearing the carrier is going to do an open day or an open ship down at the dock on the Sunday.
That would be I'm going to be there, that's for sure.
Yeah.
That sounds really cool.
Yeah.
Are they going to be doing practice landings on the carrier?
Probably not in port, but they'll certainly be doing that out at the Timor Sea. But they will be doing as part of the Mineral Beach flying display.
Excellent. So it's also a bit of simulated dogfighting, is that right?
Effectively, yeah. It's actually much more than that, but
obviously.
Yeah. So if you picture, there's about on any what we call a wave, the sortie. There's typically 2 of those per day, major missions, and there's about 100 fighter aircraft. Divided effectively evenly. The bad guys are operating out of Tyndall, and the good guys are operating out of here, if you like, Blue Force and Red Force. Ultimately, you don't want to end up in a dogfight, because you want to be
as far away as possible.
Exactly.
Yes.
And our onboard systems, people often go, well, how do you know if you shot someone if you can't actually shoot a missile? All the onboard systems can tell you whether if there was a live missile, it would have actually impacted the target.
Yes, especially the F-35s, they've got that special, incredibly expensive helmet that has the tracking for heat signatures far away.
Yeah. So the other thing, all the aircraft carry a pod which transmits back to effectively a big studio on the ground. So you're watching it like a video game. You can see where the aircraft were and who's killed. But so all those aircraft, people will see them airborne at Mineral Beach on the 18th of July. And then on the Saturday, 2 days later, is the Open Day. So all those aircraft will be on ground display. For anyone that was here last time, hopefully had a good time. A lot of people did. And so there'll be about 30 different aircraft types on display, as well as a range of military equipment. The military working dogs doing their displays in the dog ring. We've got the bands, we've got the Air Force cadets coming out, and some of the commercial and the civilian aircraft here. So Border Force aircraft, the police, the army will be here, and we generally invite some of the local training schools as well.
We did see a wonderful selection of unique planes from the varying countries. So the stark difference in size is, I think, the most interesting thing, especially when we saw the Japanese planes. The Hurricane, the Cyclone, I can't remember. It was
the Typhoon.
Typhoon, thank you. Yes, I know it's a weather ailment, but yes, it was interesting seeing the sizes difference, especially for our F-35s, which are surprisingly large.
Yes.
And then boarded off, because I think it's still restricted for people, general public, to have a zip around.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. We can't let people get too close to them, but it's certainly close enough to get a great photo and be talking to the air crew and the ground crew there. Another aircraft I didn't mention is India are coming with their Su flankers.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so they're Russian-built flanker aircraft, which Indonesia has as well. So
from the 90s,
and they are a big aircraft, and a really good-looking aircraft as well. So,
very, very cool. Yeah. No, I'm very excited. People get a chance to go inside the planes and speak to the pilots. I think pilots are some of the most interesting individual I've spoken to, because all of them are kind of just larrikins. They're all just, yeah, we just fly around, do whatever we want. But it's great. It's very unique to actually to experience something this amazing up close.
Yeah, it is, and we'll certainly have lots of pilots and aircrew to talk to, but equally there's there's much more other jobs that aren't flying related. There's hundreds of jobs in defence, and people will be there. So for any of your listeners and people out there, there is a role for everyone, and we really encourage people to, if you've got any queries, do you do this? Could I do this? The answer is yes, because we get great support from here, and people will join. If you've seen the little video from last year's Pitch Black on YouTube, the Air Force,
we filmed it as well. That's on our channels.
Yeah. And that's really, it makes us feel good when people go, when I grow up, I want to join the Air Force.
I know, that's what my son said when he saw one of the fighter jets. I do have to ask, is what time does it open?
So the Mindil Beach is 5 p.m. to 6:30 on the Thursday night, and then the open day will be from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Saturday, the 20th of July. Parking will be at the showgrounds, as per last year, and free shuttle buses to and from the site. One change this year, we are going to do tickets. There will be no cost for the tickets, but we do need to have people register so we can control the numbers.
I see.
Yeah. So just like most events now, community events. Because we want to make sure we've got enough buses, we've got to make sure we've got enough amenities, all that sort of thing, and give people the best possible experience. And for anyone that was in queues last time, we're looking to more bus loading points, and the layout of the site. We're putting a lot of work into that. It'll be busy, but hopefully it'll be a great experience.
I think also important that if you are going, pack a hat.
Yes.
Bit of sunscreen and a bottle of water.
That's right. There will be food stalls there, so the local vendors. We have a huge shaded food court, or a sitting area. But all the aircraft will be out in the sun on the hot tarmac, so bring your hat and your sunscreen.
Well, let me ask you before we end this discussion, what is your favourite plane?
I'll get into trouble. I spent most of my early career on the F-111.
Oh, wow, awesome.
Yeah, I did about 22 years flying on that. So you always love your first aircraft. I was fortunate I had a couple of years on the Super Hornet after that.
Yep.
But certainly F-111. But I'm not stuck in the old ages. Australia's been very fortunate through good decisions. We've always had excellent capabilities, both and the Army and the Navy the same. Certainly our aircraft, our fleet of aircraft across our fighter aircraft with Super Hornets and Growler electronic attack F-35 is world leading. Our transport aircraft world leading. Our tanker aircraft, the KC-30, which is an Airbus, is world leading. C-17, the big cargo aircraft, magnificent looking aircraft for a cargo aircraft, they're all good. And as I said, flying, operating them, supporting them, it's a great career.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks very much.
And look forward to seeing you at the Open Show, Pitch Black Open Day, and as well as, we'll probably have a chat again before the actual event itself.
Yeah, so the tickets will be available online from mid-June, so about a month from now, about a month from before the two events. So no tickets required for Mindil, just tickets for the Open Day on Saturday, the 20th of July.
Excellent. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks, man. Cheers.